Here we are. Hi. It is October 1. What October surprise are we in for? Because we sure did have a lot of September surprises. Not so surprising, though. October 1. Boy, where do you begin? Everything that has happened: Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. How about, oh, right, the longshoremen strike that actually, yep, they're striking. How about Iran sending ballistic missiles over to Israel? Whole lot going on. It is smacking us in the face. I hear a lot of people on Twitter saying, if they don't wake up now, they never will. Haven't we been saying that for years? There has been so much that has gone on in years, and still, we have an awful lot of people who are, I guess, with great might, remaining willfully ignorant. At a time we so need people to face reality and face what is happening, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, we don't have that. We don't have that. October 1, 2024. Hello, Geofactor 3. Sandra. Denim Blue. The skies are full of activity overhead. Israel. Don't know what's going on exactly. Hard to sleep after all the excitement tonight. Too many horrors going on all at once. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Geofactor 3, you can believe Denim Blue. She's in Israel, and I'm going to read an update that she sent me on what is taking place in Israel. And it is, and Lebanon. God, evil does not stop. It doesn't stop. Evil destroys. Good creates. So when evil comes out of the closet and is just dancing down the street, what do you think is going to happen? A whole lot of destruction if the good can't fight the evil, get rid of the evil. So this is what we live now. It is beyond heartbreaking. And Denim Blue, I'm so sorry that you have to live this. I'm so sorry that others have to live it. It is, this is life. You know, I guess we didn't learn anything from all of the wars. You got to hold your governments accountable. When you don't, boy, they sure do run amok and run over all of their citizens, all of the plebs. We're being run over big time. Crazy Potts, Alicia DeMoss, Tony Punch, hello, Julio, Shauna Howard. Well, most of the live is going to be on what's taking place in North Carolina, mostly North Carolina. North Carolina is getting all of the attention. There are towns in East Tennessee that need attention as well. Towns in South Carolina that need attention. Florida that needs attention. Yeah. Joni, yes, Denim Blue is in Israel. Louisiana Skywatch. Hi, Barb in Ohio. Jane Northrup and Oracle 11 and Bella and oh. Post it, Tony. I'd like to see it. Patricia White, hello. Tonette, Eric, Julie, Silent Walk, Shan, Miss Blanche, hello. T Lamb, hi. End Times Art. Yeah, reality avoidance syndrome. That should be in the DSM. What is it now? 6? Tony Putin, hi. Well, unfortunately, the horror, Tony, is very real with those wars. Hillbilly Grandma, hi. Fifth Trish, analog synth player. All right, so Space Indian, hi. If I've missed anybody, I apologize, but let's take a look at radar. Yeah. See anything suspicious? This has been going on with Colorado since early morning today. Now, maybe they turned them off. I wasn't on this site looking at it every moment, but still raging. How are you guys feeling? Here we have the extremely low frequencies still raging in Southern California. And we have the supercells activating in Florida, as they do. But what do we see up here? What is this very long line of little blips of precipitation? What, pray tell, is that? This line is going into Kentucky through Indiana and Ohio and on into Michigan, making its way to Canada. Yeah, this is what our weather fronts look like. I don't think so. What else could it be? It could be the activation of the nanobots, the use of nanotechnology, and you don't have to leave some snarky comment. Just do your research, because your snarky comments make you look like a fool, a stupid fool. Couldn't be more obvious that something is very wrong here. It's a tale of precipitation. The no tornado warnings, and there's one maritime severe weather warning right up in, in Lake Erie, but right north of Ohio, right in here. Okay. I once again have quite a bit to cover, so I'm just going to get into it. Why do I focus so much on the recent event that has taken place in our country? Well, there's more events, of course, but this hurricane, Helene, I would love it if people would just stop for a second. The adults, especially the baby boomers, especially. Did you ever hear of a hurricane hitting Tennessee? A hurricane hitting Western North Carolina? Western North Carolina, not the coast. Don't you think that needs to be questioned? How is it that this hurricane made landfall in Florida and then traveled through other states to get to Western North Carolina? And Western North Carolina and a few towns in East Tennessee have been wiped off the map, ravaged. How is that possible? You can't claim that the hurricane was maybe going over lakes that were too warm and it got more intense. I really want people to begin to think again. And then maybe critically think. I know that's pushing in a whole lot of people too far, but it's necessary. We need it. And I just feel that the people deserve the attention. And I do want people to begin to stop denying the evil that we are seeing, because we are at war. Now you can see the war, the ballistic missiles heading, well, what they say, it's coming from Iran into Israel. You can see that war, and you know you are at war, especially when you're running into a bomb shelter and you're listening to the sirens, as Denim Blue is. You know it. You're all on the same page in your community. I'm not suggesting that makes it any easier. I'm just saying everybody's on the same page. Oh, war, bombs coming. Well, if people could do a little bit of research, or at least engage in adult conversation with their conspiracy theorists, local, wherever, to find out that yes, weather is being controlled and it is being used as a weapon, and it unfortunately is being used as a weapon against a whole lot of the world's people. And that's exactly what is going on, what has been going on for years. But what took place last week, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Western North Carolina, on up to Virginia and Tennessee. Okay, so we're going to start actually with the line fire. No, this is the wrong page. Sorry, wrong window. The line fire ignited again, and now, I mentioned this last night, the line fire ignited, and what did we have? Evacuations. Well, now we have more evacuations.
On the ground, fire crews along Highway 38 with water hoses as flames creeped up the slope towards the road, burning brush along the way. Firefighters keeping it from reaching the pavement. All of this since the line fire, which started back on September 5th and was largely contained, flared up over the weekend. Now the community of Angeles Oaks is under an evacuation order as of Monday. Hey, handsome. Owner of the Oaks restaurant staying behind, saying she is the only business open in town, doing so to feed the first responders.
We stay for them. They're doing all this for us. That's the least we could do. Yes, I'm here for the community. Yes.
From Sky 5 today, you could see the flames burning the San Bernardino Mountains north of Highway 38, south of Big Bear. More than 1,700 people working on putting it out.
Crews are making great progress, not only with hand line, but with dozer line as well.
But the danger to communities isn't over.
We do have an active threat to the community of Angeles Oaks.
And owner of the Oaks saying she'll leave if things get worse.
I know the fire's very close. So we're worried if the winds are blowing, if we see it right here. No, we're going.
Okay. Whole lot of horror for a whole lot of people. And of course, State Farm forecasts decline in California policies over the next 5 years. State Farm is expected to drop 1 million policies. So more and more people are being dropped from their insurance. And, well, you're going to have to find some insurance, especially if you have a mortgage. But good luck, because everything is just dropping. And it's not just from fires, it's also from flooding. But Greece is having more wildfires.
Forested area above a seaside resort in southern Greece.
Very hot are those flames. Very, very hot. I will link below. Yes, homes, but they do like to target seaside resorts in a whole lot of European countries for sure. The link is in the chat. So, how about that chemical fire? Still have a shelter in place. Still warning people not to go out. And this is now, how many days? 3 days?
County officials sent out a new alert this morning saying this chemical cloud is still blowing over the county. They say if you see it blowing over where you are, if you see haze around you, smell chlorine, they are asking you to shelter in place until it moves away from where you are. So they're just asking you to keep an eye on the sky today. This new alert comes just hours after the Environmental Protection Agency said the air and water in the area are safe despite detecting chlorine in the air. Authorities say the sprinkler system inside BioLab sprayed water on a chemical inside of the facility Sunday morning and created a chemical reaction, causing that huge plume to billow in the air. People in other parts of metro Atlanta began to see and smell the effects of the chemical fire, prompting local emergency management agencies to begin testing the air where they are. But the EPA maintains the levels of chlorine were deemed safe for most people.
Of course, you cannot believe the EPA, and we all know that, right? Could there be an American who actually trusts a federal agency? That's really that. I guess they lived in a cave and they just came out to the sunlight. Well, that looks pretty friggin' toxic to me. All of that smoke, right? Yeah, it looks pretty friggin' toxic. Look at this. Look at this. Right into residential areas. So, Marshall, North Carolina.
Everything. We lost building. We lost everything. We lost buildings. We lost irreplaceable cultural heritage. Flood waters crested at 27 feet. I always knew this town would flood. We prepared for 19 feet was the projection. And 19 feet's not great, but that's like, manageable. And 27 feet is just a different story.
I've been here since 96. I've been a river person most of that time, and this river has never been so angry.
I watched all the windows break out of my friend's coffee shop, and the whole entire restaurant floated down the street, and that's when I left.
So our business is safe and fine. It's a construction business. So we're down here today with all of our heavy machinery, pushing debris and mud and loading it and carting it out. And we're serving a support crew with snacks and water and running that down in through town with hand sanitizer and hugs.
I'm an extremely optimistic human being to a fault, but you know, this is shaking me to the core, and you know, it's just tough to put it into words. Life is like suspended. It's gonna take months and years to come back from this.
Can you imagine being a business owner and having your entire business just float away, or just all of the mud, everything that they're living? I mean, before I go on, I want to play this. Not entirely sure that I will play the entire 5 minutes, but I do want to link to it. It is a video that needs to be circulated. So, what's very upsetting is knowing that weather is being used as a weapon, knowing that weather is absolutely controlled by man. Mother Nature has already been put into retirement. And to see this over and over and over again, people getting so destroyed over and over, and we make a little bit of headway with people in terms of the weather modification that is absolutely going on.
We have had the technology to create, control, and steer hurricanes for decades. Project Cirrus is the first official attempt to modify a hurricane. It was run by General Electric with the support of the U.S. military. The official theory was that by changing the temperature outside the eye wall of a hurricane, which they did by seeding the clouds with various compounds such as silver iodide, a decrease in strong winds will result. On October 13th, 1947, Project Cirrus targeted a hurricane heading out to sea. Approximately 180 pounds of dry ice was dropped into the clouds. The crew then reported a pronounced modification of the cloud deck, and the hurricane abruptly changed direction and made landfall near Savannah, Georgia. The public blamed the government. Irving Langmuir, who pioneered General Electric's atmospheric research department and admitted that the project was about learning how to weaponize the weather, also claimed the reversal of the hurricane had been caused by Project Cirrus, but the government denied it for 12 years. After a short delay, the project officially continued, and in 1965, Project Storm Fury had targeted Hurricane Betsy for seeding. On that day, the storm immediately changed direction and made landfall in southern Florida. Congress blamed it on Project Storm Fury, but the government claimed that the hurricane shifted before they ever had a chance to seed it. And after 2 months of congressional hearings, the project was allowed to continue. In 1997, U.S. Defense Secretary William Cohen admitted we have the technology to control the weather, including earthquakes and volcanoes. The U.S. government has placed gag orders on employees of the National Weather Service. In October of 2012, after Hurricane Sandy weakened to a tropical storm, microwave imagery shows a thick red beam immediately followed by Sandy growing into a Category 1 hurricane and taking an unexplained left turn into New Jersey. The push towards alternative energy demands more lithium. And according to the U.S. Geological Survey, the United States has over 6 million tons of identified lithium resources. The majority of this lithium has been identified in Kings Mountain, North Carolina. Kings Mountain is believed to have one of the largest resources in the world. But the biggest problem is that people live there and they don't want their quiet towns turned into lithium mines.
People in Cherville have been pushing against a proposed lithium mine for the last several years, but everyone we spoke with here said it's too divisive of an issue to share their opinion on camera. Cherryville is a small, quiet town.
I think that's good that we keep it small.
So quiet, many don't feel comfortable speaking out against Piedmont Lithium's proposed mining operation nearby.
I think we're a silent majority. I think a lot of people are afraid to say anything about it because they are bringing a lot to the town as far as money.
Last year, the Department of Defense entered a $90 million agreement with Albemarle Corporation to increase domestic production of lithium for the nation's battery supply chain, specifically from Kings Mountain, North Carolina, starting by 2025. This is the same area experiencing what is being described as biblical floods. While the federal government spends billions on foreign wars and illegal immigrants, they simply cannot be bothered with the health and well-being of the American people, especially those living on coveted mineral-rich land. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
Oh, okay. I forgot to enter the link. Can you imagine, like, having so much money that you don't really know what to do with it, that you're fine throughout your life, you're well off, but you want more and more and more. So you destroy with weather a whole region, killing people, killing animals, destroying their homes, destroying their businesses. Can you imagine being that person with that mindset? I can't. I really can't. I mean, I can't put myself in the shoes of these people. Okay. All right, Sweet Pea. Wait 1 second. Wait 1 second, please. Oh, are you saying hello to everybody? Is that it, babe? Now he wants treats. Okay. This is still going on. It's still going on. All right. They still don't have a way to communicate. A whole lot of people. And no water, no food, no gas, and a whole lot of people are trapped.
The Asheville, North Carolina area is amongst the hardest hit.
Whatever you're seeing there, it's a lot worse in person.
It's the area where Tom was sent to report from for several days.
It is now finally starting to recede here, but I want to show you right here. We're in a Bank of America parking lot. This is the entrance to Biltmore Village. It is still a river.
No power. Like, street lights were out, power lines down. You would turn one street and there may be a blocked road. No cell signal anywhere. So even as we're out trying to report, you can't get in communication with anybody.
Hundreds of roads remain closed, especially in the Carolinas.
To get out of there, we ran out of gas. There was basically gas lines for 3 hours at the two places that were left in Asheville to go get gas. People were trying to get out. They couldn't get out.
Tom says the disaster draws similar parallels with last year's Maui wildfires.
It's kind of the same situation as, the fires or those other things. I mean, you're in an isolated area far away. It's like now you need to get FEMA help and government help in there, and really kind of, there's that initial wave of national interest when it happens, and then it kind of dissipates after a while. But as Maui is still having these issues. These communities that have been devastated are going to be in it for the long haul.
Some areas are unreachable, with crews unable to deliver badly needed supplies.
There are entire towns beyond Asheville that are in kind of the rural portions of the mountains that have no access to the outside world. Roads have been destroyed. First responders can't reach them. There's going to be, multiple fatalities or multiple injuries that we just don't even know about yet. I mean, that's kind of the sad part of it. It's going to take, days and weeks to even kind of really see the full scope of it.
Mika Miyashima, Island News.
Maui and a lot of other places. And I do actually want to apologize because, I don't know, yesterday or 2 days ago, I said that nothing compares to Katrina. And you know what? I have no basis for saying that. There are people in the chat that, yeah, they do have a basis for saying something about Katrina. I don't. I didn't experience it, and I'm not there, and I'm not experiencing what's going on. So I just wanted to correct myself on saying that that Katrina just stands alone. Katrina was absolutely horrible. Horrible, horrible. But the government not doing a thing. And what did Bush say about Brownie? You're doing a good job, Brownie, when he wasn't doing anything. All right. Those of you who are watching the news on Katrina, you know what I'm talking about. But it doesn't seem like the government cares too much about what's going on. Not just in North Carolina, but South Carolina, Tennessee, where they really do need help.
Personally, I've lived in the Middle East many years, and this is worse than any war that I've been in. It's horrendous. I mean, there's no roads. There's no evidence of roads. There's no trees. It's just water and stone.
What is the power outage numbers now? Let me refresh just in case it has changed. Okay, well, it did change. It added some states. But Florida, 47,975 without power. Georgia, 398,501. South Carolina, 528,704. North Carolina, 354,201. Virginia, 51,858. West Virginia, 11,000. 117, and California, 17,725. Okay, well, with these weather events, a whole lot are saying that it's going to be, actually somebody I think in South Carolina said they wouldn't have any water for 30 days, okay? So, and I just want to say to all of those who have been coming out and saying that they can't believe that so many people were unprepared. Nobody expected, especially not in Western North Carolina, this kind of devastation, but also Tennessee. Okay, so we know that they weaponized that storm big time. Can you imagine Western North Carolina, pretty much a conservative area of North Carolina. North Carolina turned blue, but it's for the cities like Raleigh and Asheville, actually. So it's not that they're only going after red states or red people, conservative people. They're going after all of us, everyone, but especially, do you think they care about the liberal Democrats in Asheville, North Carolina, if there's lithium there in the hills? No, they don't. So, Western North Carolina. I have subscribers in Western North Carolina, and they prep a whole lot, no doubt. Prepped. Well, guess what? It's gone. It's gone. The house is destroyed. The floods, houses were just floating down the river. All their prep is gone. So, and yeah, you want to talk Georgia gas station? Here we go.
One more time. How much a gallon? That's all I want to hear.
Why is taking a video?
How much is it a gallon? You work here?
He's taking a video.
How much is it a gallon? That's all we want to know. You're filling gas, right? How much a gallon? $10. $10 a gallon. Okay.
Price gouging.
That's
Price got $10 a gallon. You really have to wonder what the hell is wrong with so many people. Yeah. Like, what's wrong with Biden? Listen to this. In your face.
Still rising. The danger is still occurring for a lot of people.
And by the way, as the FEMA can tell you, they had pre-positioned an awful lot of material.
Gee, I wonder why FEMA pre-positioned an awful lot of material. Pre-positioned? Oh. Well, a whole lot of people are also saying, where is government? Why don't we have any help from government? But pre-positioned, that's interesting. So you knew it was going to be really bad. Not just in Florida. North Carolina. Okay.
Throughout that area, from the Bend all the way up into Tennessee. And so the idea that we weren't prepared, the question is, no one knew exactly how devastating it would be. We knew it would be significant, and we've got a lot already in place, but there's more. But here's the point. I'm going to be asking the American people to continue to help fund the needs of these people. It's not going to be one hit and it's over. It's going to take a hell of a long time. It's going to cost a hell of a lot of money. But this is the United States of America. We've got to do it.
still rise.
Asking the American people to fund the recovery. Billions, billions, billions upon billions upon billions upon billions. Ukraine, Israel, a whole lot of aid all over the world. Illegal migrants getting free housing and free food and free education and free medical care and free phones. And Americans, you're going to fund this recovery. Do you see how clear it is now? They don't give a shit about Americans. Not at all. And we've seen this time and time again. That's why it's not the red team or the blue team. They don't care about all of us. It doesn't matter whether you are Christian or Jewish or Muslim or Democrat or Republican or black or white, male, female, it doesn't care. They don't care. That's why when you can finally get that you are treated as shit, stepped on all the time, footing the bill at a time when the inflation is destroying Americans and rent is skyrocketing. Mortgages, people afraid they can't pay their mortgages. Americans are going to be asked to fund the recovery. This is why it's so essential for Americans, regardless of race, religion, etc., that they actually band together, unite. Well, it's remarkable. Just a couple of days ago, 8.3, I think it's 8.3 billion off to Ukraine again. Americans, we're going to have to increase your taxes. This is going to cost a lot of money. Property taxes, everything going up. Americans losing their jobs. They can't find other jobs. You'll have to fund a recovery. Okay. Now, I'm just going to play a few minutes of Adapt 2030, his video, and the link is in the chat. Click on it. Lots of good information.
I want to start you off here. I'm also in contact with those that are up in Newport, Tennessee, doing emergency relief work up there. And if you are anywhere in Nashville and you can pass a message, they are unveiling Starlink stations effectively now. So the first ones that are open, Doubletree, Hilton downtown. Now, in addition to the port strike, this is the Ingalls Distribution Center here. Remember, credit cards are not working. Nothing's working. There's no pay through systems and people are taking cash or silver at the moment for payments. Open cash only. These are the signs that are starting to be seen across many a location, but the looting has started. There's no police presence. And those that are on networks now telling people to protect themselves. Isolated from the world, Asheville residents scavenging for food. And this is through areas that were flooded. People are actually looking for food. And if we come up here to Ingalls, this is in Black Mountain. I was unable to get a hold of Ingalls home office before the video. I waited till 9 o'clock. I called like 3 or 4 times, couldn't get them. They're stationing police in front of the Ingalls, so you cannot go in there at the moment because they have no way to pay. And this is a travesty. You know, Ingalls, shame on you. You should be opening these stores and giving that food away instead of posting police officers out there. Protect your property And the address there, you can easily see 550. And if you look up the store locator, that's exactly where it is in Black Mountain. Now, Asheville is tremendously destroyed. All bridges going in there are cut off, and everything west of there is literally, there's towns, 3 towns so far, scoured away, like completely gone. Only foundations of some remnants remain. Roads gone, buildings gone, everything gone. Now you can listen live on repeater 145.350. That's Whiskey 4 Hotel Tango Papa. Broadcastify. Now this has been linked through multiple repeaters that are up and finally functional. And I want you to get a glimpse of how fast this water came down, and the evacuation orders were late. And once the slides started, they started, and there was nowhere to go. It happened so fast, and inundation was all encompassing anywhere there was a stream. But there is some hopefulness out of this. Farm dogs there are leading the cattle to safety. And this is one of the best images I could find of the day. Another barricade, I-19, Interstate 19 is now closed.
That was a nice image. Okay, so the link again is in the chat. So much, man. Now I'm going to play Dane Wigington's video. And the link is in the chat. I do hope that you circulate this.
Hurricane Helene's path and behavior just the result of natural processes and climate patterns, or was it manipulated? The circular blue flashes seen in this video are frequency transmissions from the NEXRAD network of transmitter installations. All available science evidence makes clear that atmospheric frequency transmissions can and do have a repelling effect on air masses, especially if and when the air masses have been seeded with electrically conductive nanoparticles. The brighter the blue flash from a frequency transmission installation, the more pronounced and powerful the repelling effect on any air mass or storm in the vicinity will be. Where there are no blue flashes, there is no transmission, thus no repelling effect, thus no resistance for a migrating storm. Translation: a migrating storm will be hindered from moving toward frequency transmissions and will easily migrate in a direction with no transmissions. So again, I ask, was Hurricane Helene's path and behavior just an act of nature, or was it engineered? You decide.
Yes, we know it was. Yes, we know it was. NEXRAD radar, extremely low frequencies, steering the storm. But isn't it wild? Look at that. Look at that hurricane, and it doesn't dissipate. You're still seeing the hurricane thrashing about in Georgia and South Carolina, right on up into North Carolina. Really? I mean, common sense. Baby boomers, we never saw it. Anything like this. Oh, but climate change, Carol. Really? The changes would be incremental. They sure wouldn't be producing a hurricane that never stops. Let me make sure that I may have a video here. Yes, I do. Okay. I posted this on my Never Lose Truth channel, and oh no, this was for a comment that I wanted to read. Here. It amazes me how some videos are pushed through on the same topics and others are not. I uploaded a simple video on TikTok of CBS Morning News 2016 talking about weather modification and how scientists were using lasers to control weather, hurricanes and I spent 3 years building that TikTok channel, and now it's gone because of that one video. Yep. TikTok, China owned, does not like weather modification videos. Literally just taking down. You don't even get a warning. TikTok doesn't just delete the video, but the channel immediately goes down. Okay. I'm going to play this now, but I think I have it open. Well, let's listen to this parent. 30 Philadelphia high school students still stranded following a camping trip in North Carolina. Still stranded. Where are all the helicopters?
I'm upset. I'm angry.
Terrell Dargan is bubbling with emotions as his daughter Tiara and dozens of other Girard College 9th grade students sit stranded on a camping trip in Asheville, North Carolina. This after rain and wind remnants from Hurricane Helene devastated the area.
We've seen all these floods and stuff, and we got worried about, well, where the kids at?
The students left for the trip in the Blue Ridge Mountains with an organization known as Outward Bound a week ago. They were supposed to return Friday, but when it looked like that wasn't possible, Girard College contacted the parents.
The kids is doing okay. They got enough food, enough water. We don't know when we're going to be able to get them out of there.
Earlier today, the school's president released a statement reading in part, quote, all students and adults are safe and are being cared for while Outward Bound works with local and state officials to clear the roads that provide access to the camp. Emergency first responders and volunteers from the Delaware Valley, like New Jersey Task Force 1, are among those tasked with clearing roads, rescues, and providing shelter to those in need. The Red Cross says it'll be sending half a dozen volunteers to help tomorrow morning.
What we will see will be devastating.
These kids are not all right. They're upset and they are worried.
Dargan says in his brief conversation with his daughter on Sunday, he could hear it in her voice that she was scared. Now he wants to know who made the call for the students to shelter in place in the path of a dangerous storm.
How is it that y'all didn't know about that? And why did you say, well, let's cut it short and bring these children home?
Yeah. Lee Brown and okay, I have to refresh.
I want to share with y'all some things.
And I think I have her video. I finally found her. Okay, I found her, Lee Brown. And the link to her video is underneath my video, but I'm also going to link to her video. And in the description box, you can learn how to donate. Let me see.
I want to share with y'all some things you may.
Good. Okay. So many people have asked, well, where are the links? You just click more. Okay. So it used to say description box, but YouTube made changes. You click more, scroll on down, donate supplies, donate funds. Here we go.
I want to share with y'all some things you may not know about what's happening in the North Carolina mountains in the aftermath of Helene. Here's number one. If you have friends or family that are headed into the mountains or who live there, the looting has picked up major steam. I was advised yesterday by a county sheriff to make sure that anybody out and about is carrying, and in his words, carrying with the safety off. There are very aggressive people out there, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this. It's not because they're necessarily awful. They're desperate. Desperate people do desperate things, y'all. And why are they desperate? Because there's no water in some of these communities. We have neighbors in North Carolina with no water. And all I can say is this: the government ain't coming to save you. Not now, not ever, because they don't care about you, the people, anymore. It is the citizens who are going to have to step it up. Now, I got to tell y'all, I was floored yesterday by how my community, which is a little over an hour away from the affected areas, showed up at donation sites with water and diapers and formula and some liquid IV. I mean, y'all brought all kind of things, bleach, vinegar. You are ready to help, and we're going to take more donations today, and we're so grateful for everything because I'm going to get it into the hands of actual volunteers. And I was asking people, like, why are you bringing it to me? Some of y'all don't even know me. And they said, well, we don't trust the relief organizations anymore. Y'all, we have lost our organizations to grifters. We have lost our organizations to liars. And so we have to rely on each other because that's how this country was built. This country was built patriot by patriot. And I can tell you this, as a realtor, I know my realtors in the mountains and I have talked to them and they know the neighbors too. So I am getting your donations into hands that are going to get it into hands. And everybody that sent me dollars, I got teams of shoppers out and I got receipts to prove it because we are not grifters. We are neighbors. And the patriots that are in the mountains, if you see this, if your family sees this, hear me now. You are not forgotten by the rest of North Carolina. And if you are not in North Carolina, then there are ways that you can give. But can I just remind y'all of something? You cannot eat money. You cannot drink money. So for those of y'all that thought money was your God, and by the way, that includes our freaking elected officials, it's not your God. Told my girlfriend this morning while we were talking about this during our run, I said, tell your children, she's got grown children, this is why you keep a stash of water on hand. This is why you keep a stash of food on hand. But for those of y'all that are not in affected areas, if you can take your donated items and send it to the mountains, then send it with a friend. Make sure you're sending truckloads so that we don't overload the roads because our first responders are overwhelmed. By the way, thank you, Governor DeSantis, for doing more for North Carolina than North Carolina's governor has. I'm very grateful for your National Guard because we have to help each other, y'all. And I'm going to tell you something. If you will share this with somebody who doesn't know what's happening in North Carolina, they need to know. They need to know that there are entire towns gone. Chimney Rock is gone, a beautiful town. Swannanoa, gone. Montreat, gone. Other towns damaged beyond repair. That means our geography has changed, our culture is at risk, but most importantly, our people, our generational people have lost their generational homes. This ain't about your granite countertops anymore. Listen, y'all, listen. Tell somebody how they can help. I am but one resource. There are people I know all over North and South Carolina that have been gathering up goods and trucks. Somebody as far away as Massachusetts putting a truck together. Let me know. I can connect you to where to take things. The Baptists are doing a great job out of Boone. Samaritan's Purse is on the ground. I trust those two organizations. I wish I had trust for more because I don't trust this government, but I trust the people of North Carolina. Y'all, the biggest thing you can do, pray. Pray right now. Pray fervently that people will turn their hearts back to God and pray for a hedge of protection around all those who have seen things they should never have to see. I'll tell you one more story before I hang up this video. I had a lady come to my donation site yesterday, and her grandson is 10 years old, living in the mountains with his mother, who works in a VA hospital. They're getting the kid out today to get him home because they can finally get him out. And they're worried because he has seen things he should never have to see. When you have children that are seeing bodies on the ground and towns gone, we're going to have to answer for that one day, y'all. Please pray. Please do something. And for those of y'all that have already done something, I can't thank you enough.
Before we begin, I want to send our love.
So
I want to share with y'all some things you may not.
now I also want to share with you
y'all some things you may not know.
Another video that I also posted this afternoon, and somebody left a comment saying, you know, she might just be fear mongering. I don't think this woman is fear mongering.
I'm in Tennessee, and I just read and saw a video where they said that people and their whole beings were laying all over the ground, and the smell was like horrific, and nobody can get in there. Nobody's going over there. What is going on? Why isn't the government helping? This is worse than anybody even expected or even knows, because none of the news channels are even reporting on this except for like TikTok. That's it. What is going on? These people need help. They need help over North Carolina. They need the government to come in with the military. What is going on? Why aren't they helping? There is literally a stink happening because there's so many beings laying everywhere. I'm just so infuriated right now and angry, you guys. Where's the government? I mean, if the government really wanted to help, dude, there would be helicopters and military just everywhere. There's none. There's none. What is going on?
Well, the same thing that has been going on for my entire life, actually, only getting worse and worse and worse, with a government that does not care about its people. And now it's just very obvious. Okay, so the link to Leah or Lee's video I put in the chat again. And yeah, I mean, oh my God, it's really there. We have to come up with new language. Heartbreaking. It gets overused. It's weather used as a weapon. Who controls the weather? Controls the world. You're looking at it.
In Hurricane Helene's wake, devastation and destruction stretching as far as the eye can see.
We were not prepared for this.
The powerful Category 4 storm causing damage in at least 10 states. Hardest hit, North Carolina, where every single county has been impacted.
And we're dealing with a situation that is unlike anybody's ever seen.
The town of Asheville isolated, cut off from power, water, and cell service. Homes and businesses destroyed, testing the resilience of its residents.
My business and my job and my livelihood and all that. So, I don't know.
This video showing the flood's sheer power as it rushed in.
Everything's gone.
Leaving down trees and power lines, buckled railroad tracks, cars overturned. Devastation I saw firsthand driving through the streets. In Henderson County, families in need were given a meal and water bottles to help tide them over for the day.
And how would you describe the scene so far today?
It has been a very busy, chaotic scene trying to get water to residents who have not had water since Thursday.
Some more help now on the way. The National Guard moving in. FEMA also sending support. President Biden says he'll travel to the region tomorrow for an aerial tour, explaining he doesn't want his trip to divert resources.
I've directed my team to provide every available resource as fast as possible to your communities.
The destruction stretching more than 600 miles across state lines.
The impact of Hurricane Helene is historic.
In Tennessee, more than 100 people are still missing. Family members desperately waiting for news about their loved ones. The state's infrastructure also taking a catastrophic hit. Hundreds of bridges destroyed or damaged. In Georgia, hundreds of thousands left without electricity. Amid the pain, though, hope and heroes stepping in. Dramatic rescues through the storm. In western North Carolina, a man jumping into raging waters to save a woman whose home was being swept away in the flood.
I just couldn't watch her die. I felt like I needed to do that.
Up and down the coast, communities come together.
Somebody's going to help them from our community because that's how we are. Nobody will be left alone out here.
That Southern hospitality showing up in a time of great need.
We just want to help. That's all we're doing.
Well, a lot of people are watching this.
Wow. Isn't it a wow? It's a big wow. It's okay. By the way, the Department of Homeland Security had their conferences years ago on hurricane modification. That's the face of evil. along with Biden and Kamala and all of them. Chopper 9 flies over Helene's damage in Charlotte. In Charlotte. Charlotte is Western North Carolina. Oh, do we still have T-Lam or other North Carolinians in here? I thought Charlotte was on the east side.
Our coverage started with Riverside Drive in northwest Charlotte, where Friday morning, mandatory emergency evacuations took place. Water rushed down the Catawba River and filled the streets and homes. Next, we headed towards the mountains in Lake Lure. Debris filled the waterways where colorful kayaks broke up the sea of brown debris. Docks were floating in the middle of the lake, chairs and tables still sitting on top like the structure wasn't ripped from a home. Lake Lure Beach was washed away, and the historic Lake Lure Flowering Bridge, once a blooming botanical garden and overlook, now destroyed. Community members could be seen walking over the debris of the neighboring bridge. Not far from there, at Chimney Rock, another bridge ripped in half by the strong floodwaters. The once postcard-perfect mountain town still held on to some of its beauty in the middle of the destruction, but the wineries and breweries that looked over the water are now washed away. The waters in Biltmore Village are receding, leaving weeks, months, and even years of cleanup. It's hard to tell where the Swannanoa ends and Asheville begins. The popular tourist destination left a ghost town. The River Arts District was still underwater, and this building covered past the first floor windows. That destruction continued along the Swannanoa. In Black Mountain, a group of people gathered outside the Ingalls. Roads are still closed along I-40. This mudslide taking up the majority of the highway. It left behind a path from the top of the hillside. Old Fort is now covered in mud after the heavy flooding. The conditions in Morganton were shocking. The town is still underwater. On Friday morning, emergency officials told Channel 9 resources were stretched extremely thin due to the number of calls they were responding to. Trailers, trucks, and brick buildings were floating in the floodwaters. The flooding in Boone was nearly gone, but this home on the hillside appeared to have been destroyed by a landslide. Across western North Carolina, dams were at their limits. Rivers were swollen, homes destroyed, and lives lost.
Max? Oh boy. Maximus. Please look at my description box for my GoFundMe. I've lost nearly everything. Where did you live, Max? What town were you in, Max? I know you were up in the mountains in western North Carolina. Oh boy. The Lynn River ran at whitewater pace through my downstairs for 16 hours. Linville. Yeah, what we're hearing from mainstream media and a lot of people, the names of the rivers, that's not the only rivers. And in fact, Tommy Bites, the Homestead channel, she posted a video telling people to evacuate because the river that is, and the dam that she showed on one of her videos that I showed in a live, she said is about ready to collapse. And I'm paraphrasing what she said, so. Okay. I'm glad you have people. Okay, let me do I have any moderators in here now? Mama Rages, is it possible for you to find out Maximus's channel and then post his GoFundMe channel? I mean, link. Well, thank you very much. Okay, and if that can be done, that would be good. Max, I'm so sorry. I know that you're dealing with throat cancer. Okay. Sometimes things just get a little much, right? Yeah. And that whole thing about God doesn't give you any more than you can handle, we have to stop saying things like that. We have to start thinking about all of those sayings that we so quickly, mouth, but don't really think about it, because people are now experiencing a whole lot. And just because they're alive doesn't mean that they're handling everything well. How they can do it, handle it alone. You have to drive 2 hours one way to get the chemo. Plus, you have to pay for a construction dumpster to clean out your downstairs. So Max, Mama Ray just says that she can't see it. If you could text her, or she'll text you.
Stories of survival are.
Listen to this. This is so outrageous. It's beyond. But I have to say, the helicopter pilot well, I don't want to judge because I have no idea what I would do in this situation, but I can't imagine I would have left somebody. But listen.
Are now being shared days after Helene wreaked havoc in North Carolina. But one Pageland man's efforts to help are now the source of controversy. He flew his own chopper on his own dime to help stranded victims. But that man says he abandoned his rescue missions after a fire official threatened to have him thrown in jail. Well, that man now wants answers and turned to Queen City News Chief Investigator Jody Barr to help figure out what went wrong here.
This is the original post that I was reading when I decided to go up and help. It's a long post, but she's saying that her kids and family and animals are trapped. No way out, no supplies, and the only way in or out is accessible by helicopter. Limited cell service and no water since Friday morning. I thought I have a helicopter and maybe I can help.
Jordan Sidham piled food and water into his helicopter Saturday and headed up toward Banner Elk, the only way through a mountain gap in Lake Lure.
This is the mountain valley that you would have to fly to get to Black Mountain, where we were escorting people out. This is a mountain range, and this is a mountain range. The only place to fly through with bad visibility, low cloud coverage, is Lake Lure.
The cries for help from people stranded without food, water, or electricity hit social media soon after the flooding last Friday.
So my parents are stuck there. Their address is Banner Elk. They are in the first condo. If you receive this, please give me a call back. Thank you.
Sidham's phone started lighting up on Saturday with people begging for help.
I mean, I could hear the desperation in her voice. This is multiple phone calls I've received like this, voicemails, text messages, and you could hear people desperate for help.
Sidham and his son rescued 4 people on Saturday and spent the night in a nearby pilot's lounge, then decided to fly again Sunday morning.
I spoke with my son, which is my co-pilot. I said, hey, do you want to go back out and try to help today? And his response was, there's so many messages, I don't think we can't not go help.
Sidham and his son were headed up to Black Mountain. Flight tracking shows no flight restrictions in place Saturday or Sunday morning when Sidham flew through the Lake Lure Gap. But that was all about to change. The Sidham spotted an older couple waving for help, then landed in what's left of their driveway.
Hey, I want you to let me get in. You step out and go out, help her in, put her bag in the back, get her strapped in. I'm going to take her now and come back. I'll take him, I'll come back, and then I'll get you, okay?
I originally left my son, co-pilot, on the side of the mountain. It was kind of unstable, so I didn't want to put more weight in the helicopter to lift back off. So I left my son with the other victim, and I was just going to take one person down at the time. And you could hear me in the video talking through with the victims and with my son what we were going to do.
3 minutes away, Sidham spotted a group of rescuers just down the river. He landed and found someone in charge.
Told him my background experience, law enforcement, firefighting, pilot. He immediately started helping with coordination. He gave me radio frequencies to coordinate with them on, set up a landing area for me to come back with the other victim. And in the middle of the whole conversation and them blocking the road off, I was greeted by the, at that time I didn't know, but Lake Lure fire chief or assistant chief maybe, and he shut down the whole operation. So at that point I felt like the conversation wasn't going any further. And again, he asked me to leave, and I said, hey, I have no problem getting out of your area. If that's what you want us to do, we'll leave, no issue. At that point, I asked him, what was the reason I had to leave them there? And he said, again, you're interfering with my operation. I just need you to get out of the area. I said, sir, I don't know where you were trained at, but I know how my training is, and I'm not going to leave personnel behind. I'm going back to get my co-pilot. He said, if you turn around and go back up the mountain, you're going to be arrested. I said, well, sir, I'm going back to get my co-pilot. I don't know what to tell you. And he said, I'm letting you know. And at that point, he waved for 2 law enforcement officers to come over and told me that again, if I go back up the mountain, I would be arrested.
He flew the 3-minute trip back, picked up his son, and left the woman's husband behind.
Sure, he was flooded with emotions and trying to rescue other people, and I just felt that it was best at the time to leave. So I did follow his instructions, and I had a conversation with the female victim before I left, apologized and explaining. She was standing there. She heard the whole conversation, and they were both very, very surprised, very upset. The husband, as I was leaving off of the side of the mountain, at that point, separated from his wife, he was upset. I can only imagine.
Sidham and his nearly 1,400 flight hours turned his chopper around and headed back to South Carolina, passing people waving for help along the way.
As I was actually leaving to go back to get my son, the original chief or captain that I spoke to, his crew and himself, they came back over and said, hey, man, we can't tell you to go get the victim. We can't even ask you to go get the victim, but we can tell you if you come back with the victim, we'll have you a designated landing spot, and they won't. We'll make sure they don't come over here.
So there was no flight restriction when you went in?
No flight restriction when I went in. It went in place 20 or 30 minutes after the confrontation with Mr.
You feel like that was coincidental, or do you think that that was because of what happened?
I don't think it can be coincidental when there has not been one in place the day before doing rescue operations, the night of, the morning of, that took place after our altercation. I think there would have never been a TFR put in place had we not had that conversation. If I had to do it over again, I would have stopped and I would have rescued as many people until they decided they were going to arrest me.
Well, for now, we've chosen not to name that Lake Lure fire official.
Yeah, well, how is it that they just show up and say that they're going to arrest those who are helping instead of trying to coordinate, their, because they would have more people helping. But no, you're going to arrest. But other civilian organizations are helping. But I do want to put this in the chat. In the video. And this is the GoFundMe for Max Maximus, who needs help. He lived up there in the mountains of North Carolina. So the number now is over 140. Department of Homeland Security has put the number of missing at 600. Considering, Asheville was close to 100,000 just in that city alone. I would think that there's more missing, but what do I know?
Well, sir, we started with Helene in Florida. We traveled with the storm up through Florida, through Georgia, South Carolina, and into North Carolina now. But it's left a lot of devastation in its path. It really is.
Tell us about some of the things that you need. And if someone is looking to donate, how can somebody do that? What supplies should they be donating to people in these hard-hit areas?
Well, you can go to halorelief.org and get our Facebook pages, click the link, and go to area recovery as well. There's a place to donate. There's a place to volunteer. You can get requests for help, stuff like that. Go to those pages, and they'll guide you to whichever link you need. We need things like, obviously, food and water. Generators are a big help out here right now. There's no power in a lot of these towns we visited, obviously. And then something I didn't think about that kind of caught me off guard yesterday, we worked with a elderly gentleman, and he said at night that the blankets just weren't enough, that he's already, the temperature's dropping just enough at night that he's already getting super cold, uncomfortable, and he's a little worried about, his safety at this point.
So some people can help and others are being threatened with arrest. Okay, it's remarkable. Remarkable. Hang on. Just had a coughing fit. Sorry. Came on very suddenly. That we're actually here living what we're living in this country. But with these people, this is the vice president. It's scary. It's just scary.
It is our lowest income communities and our communities of color that are most impacted by these extreme conditions and impacted by issues that are not of their own making. And so Absolutely. And so we have to address this in a way that is about giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. And if we want people to be in an equal place, sometimes we have to take into account those disparities and do that work. It is our
Americans need their heads examined, that these people are still their leaders, okay? Equity, right. So for these natural disasters, right? You start helping the non-white people first and the low income. Why can't we just be Americans, especially at a time of crisis when Americans really are Americans? Crisis, a whole lot of people come together. They don't care what color of skin somebody is wearing. They don't care whether the person is poor or rich. They just come together and they help out. But no, we still have this equity crap. I could use a happy ending today.
Nice puppy. Come on. Come on. Rocking a stalemate and God knows. Rocking a hard place, Saturday comes.
Dogs just left behind. This one nearly brought me to tears. I'm just going to play a few seconds of the song, but then I have to turn it off because of copyright strike. Pets and animals that were left behind, saved by other people.
I hear you whisper underneath your breath.
So if you know that song, you can play it in your head. Song is I Will Rescue You. And then think about how many didn't make it. These disasters require a lot of people pitching in and helping. And look at this horse. So thank God for the people who care about animals. This is a guy seeing Asheville for the first time.
I knew it was bad, but you always hope that it's not going to be that bad. And this is just a fraction of what has happened to Western North Carolina. And that's, it's of course impactful because this is the community I've spent the last 5.5 years in. About where you see the first responders parked in the road up there where they're turning people around is where my business is that I've been running, raising two kids here in the mountains with my wife. We've gone to most of these restaurants together as a family. This community is so important to us, and I came through here before the storm started and saw everything boarded up and sandbagged up, and everybody was of course hopeful that that was going to do the trick, but nobody expected this. So to see a thriving community of businesses go from frustrated that you can't get in to I mean, it's just not the same. And then you realize how many people have gotten impacted and what it's going to take to get Asheville back to what it was is going to be a long time.
Chate is the
Oh man, mules bringing supplies.
This is a very unusual crew rescuing people or transporting supplies, we should say. A team of mules from 511's Livestock Hauling are helping bring supplies to residents affected by Helene. A post from the Mountain Mule Packer Ranch showed the mules preparing for a trip in Black Mountain with donated supplies on their backs. They are taking supplies to areas currently inaccessible by vehicle.
That's pretty cool. There's a lot of these videos of people impacted and you listen to them and it is bachelorette party. They get stranded. Mountain of North Carolina from Massachusetts.
Yeah, David, by a miracle and thanks to some really kind neighbors, those 11 girls landed here at Logan Airport late last night. And now they're sharing their story because they hope to get the help for the neighbors they met in North Carolina who are still trapped at the top of a mountain.
It's a big hug, a survivor.
Bride Kayla Donnelly is seeing her parents for the first time after her bachelorette party turned life-threatening.
A complete disaster. I've never seen anything like it. The whole forest pretty much was down.
The 11 Massachusetts girls planned a weekend in a mountainside cabin in Asheville, North Carolina, unaware until they arrived the devastation that Hurricane Helene would soon bring. After a fun Thursday night, they woke up to no power, a tree on the roof, and leaking rain. And when they went outside,
I have a pit in my stomach thinking about it because you got to the top of the driveway and you just looked right and left and it was just chaos. It was so bad. I was we're never getting out of here. It was so bad.
soon they had no water. After 2 days, were nearly out of food and their cell service was gone, meaning no contact with family.
And so when they stopped hearing from me, I knew they would know something's wrong.
Bridesmaid Gina says she heard her friend praying out loud.
And then literally out of nowhere, a man at the top of the mountain at 6 o'clock at night was like, "Hello, is anyone down there?"
That kind stranger had hiked the mountain to help neighbors in need and helped the girls plan their exit. The next day, they grabbed what they could and hiked 3 hours down the mountain, passing signs like this as they hiked through downed trees and buckled roads.
I mean, I have poison ivy on my leg, cuts, I'm bruised all the way down.
Thanks to truck rides from strangers and meals at nearby safety shelters, they finally made it to the airport, but want to draw attention to the neighbors who saved their lives, who are still stranded high above the flooding.
Nobody is really seeing what's going on up there, and there's a lot of people who need help, a lot of people who haven't been able to contact their families.
There are a lot of people who need help still. This is your sign to prep. Oh, South Carolina, Walmart.
I'm about to record it. I'm recording it right now.
Yeah. If you hear people say they've been waiting more than a half hour, definitely drive on.
Oh my Lord. Jesus. Yeah, this is fucking ludicrous. This is just to get into Walmart. Yeah, because people are holding buggies and everything.
Yeah, that's just to get in. Imagine I bet you the checkout line is just as long.
They got people directing traffic in the parking lot. I'm about to record it.
That was a mighty long line. And here, I do like seeing people out and about helping out. And this is Appalachian, Appalachia Homestead. She's in Tennessee. Just a few minutes.
We're in Irwin, Tennessee. We're at Unicoi County High School. I want you to see everything that's going on up here in Irwin. We have just dropped off a massive load of donations, and the refuge here is at the high school. You can get to the high school. Gosh, I'd have to tell you the route that we came, but I don't know off the top of my head. So we've been here helping. This has become like the major refuge spot here in Unicoi County. I don't know if you saw earlier, I tried to catch it real fast. I ran out of the high school to come over and try to film. You have helicopters. This is their landing pad right here. So earlier I was able to film and was able to capture what I can. I'm having to move very fast. But this is where the helicopters are landing. They are bringing folks in. They're having to helicopter out, rescue, and then they're bringing them here. No, I am not flooded. I'm not from this area, but we have driven 2.5 hours up here to help today. So I just want to let you know that I'm out of breath. I shouldn't be. This is a very emotional experience right now. If you want to see the heartbeat of Tennessee, it is right here in this high school, right here.
I will post the link so you can watch the full video. And it is in the chat. So yeah, and if you want an update on what is happening in Tennessee, click on this link. Not just Tennessee, other places as well. Tennessee has many people missing. So there's so much. I mean, I could be doing lives 24/7. Israel. Boots on the ground in Lebanon. American troops flown over to Israel. No doubt they're on ground as well. Israeli terrorists bombing Beirut, Lebanon again, hitting, of course, residential buildings, killing civilians.
في واحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
U.S., Israel, UK, but U.S., Israel, the evil, they don't give a shit that you see it. And I think, and I didn't hear it, but I did see this headline where Netanyahu said there'll be a missile in every kitchen in Lebanon. I'd have to verify that because that sounds like Netanyahu. So Israel launches ground invasion of Lebanon, Operation Northern Arrows. Expanding war. Iran to imminently launch ballistic missiles on Israel. White House warns. Is it really Iran that launched those ballistic missiles? How do we know? We don't know. Israeli airstrike hits residential building near Iranian embassy in Beirut. Okay, well, war for the United States and Israel is never just limited to military targets. Camera captures sight of missiles fired by Iran. This is mainstream media, Western mainstream media, Forbes. And I did watch a Al Jazeera on this, and they hadn't gotten confirmation that it was Iran yet.
كيف كنت
Yeah. So, Denim Blue. Here is an update. There have been sirens in our area the past week, and we've had to go to the bomb shelter several times. On one occasion, a nearby village had a direct hit on a house. I think 5 people had been taken to the hospital because they were hit by shrapnel. That village was a target again a few days later. Much more has been going on. In other areas of the country, we hear planes or rockets in the sky a lot. I have personally seen 5 rockets very high up in the sky. It was on 3 occasions when I happened to be outside. Twice I saw 2 rockets traveling side by side, and once I saw 1 rocket. They were very high up in the sky, and I don't know where they went. We hear explosions from our house fairly frequently. Most of the time, the explosions are far away when it sounds like a faint thud, but a few times the explosions were closer. On several occasions, the rockets fell into the Sea of Galilee, and people posted photos of the splashes on WhatsApp. Right now, we are hearing a lot of activity in the skies. I am hearing explosions in the distance, not as far away as usual. A lot of explosions right now. And they have their holiday season tomorrow, Rosh Hashanah, Feast of Trumpets, Jewish New Year. No, there's an awful lot of Jews who are very against what their government is doing. Okay, so don't go there, please. And don't even try with Denim Blue. But this is do you see how it's affecting, whether it's war, whether it's not the war of bombs dropping, but weather dropping or fires taking out people and their homes? It's affecting more and more and more people. More and more and more people. And that's why it's really important to have community. And yes, I had heard Iran now planning a major attack on Israel. None of us were able to get rid of the evil, corrupt, subhuman things in our governments. So more and more will be experiencing horrific events and oops. I wish it wasn't the case, but it is. And listen to this. Now, Americans clearly do not know how their government's supposed to be operating. You know what? Oh, this is Thomas Massey. I didn't realize that. Work with Israel. Excuse me. The Constitution requires you to work with Congress. But the same thing was happening for decades. Congress is supposed to be declaring wars. Congress is just not even on their radar for people who want to bomb other countries. And that goes for Trump as well.
April, after Iran struck Israel, the U.S. issued a number of sanctions as a consequence. This morning, the president said there would be severe consequences if Iran carried out this attack. What are those consequences, and are they more severe than sanctions?
Totally legitimate question, and that answer will come based on the conversations and consultations we have with our Israeli counterparts. It's too soon for me to stand before you today and give you an answer. What I can tell you is this. We are proud of the actions that we've taken alongside Israel to protect and defend Israel. We have made clear that there will be consequences, severe consequences for this attack, and we will work with Israel to make that the case. Thank you very much.
They're proud of all of the killing. They're proud of all of the missiles that they've sent, the ammunitions and the bombs. And well, they are proud because we had a lot of Americans go over and sign their name on the bombs that were killing Palestinians. But yes, we're proud. Okay. We have a psychopathic country, a whole lot of psychopaths, a whole lot of very sick, just empty, I don't know what to call them, a whole lot. And they do whatever the hell they want to do. Constitution, who cares about that? Yemen's Houthis shoot down another $30 million U.S. Reaper drone. What's going to be happening? What are we going to wake up to tomorrow with this going on in Iran? They're claiming it's Iran shooting the ballistic missiles into Israel. And yeah, the port strike. So when you take out an artery like Interstate 40, Tennessee, North Carolina, because that artery, semis going up, I-40 coming down I-40, delivering supplies, then you have, a glitch in the supply chain. This, what's going to be happening? But I did see, and I think it was JWTV, but it might have been somebody else who talked about the strike, and it'll go on for a little while, and then it will be Kamala Harris who saves the day, and she negotiates an agreement between the longshoremen and the companies. And I thought, oh, that could be, absolutely. But we're talking from Maine to Texas, okay? So even one day, a whole lot of supplies aren't going anywhere. 2 days, a whole lot more. A whole lot of medicines, everything coming from China for the Walmarts, for the Costcos, for the pharmacies. With everything that we have going on, then we have this going on, and it's like, okay, it's overwhelming for sure. And of course, manufacturing in this country is pretty much dead. It is dead. Stagnation. How many times have we seen headlines? Manufacturing stagnation. Once again, employment weak. So we're in really piss poor shape on every front, every aspect of life. Piss poor shape. People hurting, people needing things. So we need to get out in our own communities, help out those who are close to the area of Tennessee and North Carolina, South Carolina, a whole lot. Drive out, you ask what you can do, how you can help, bring donations. They need everything. Those who have survived need everything because they've lost everything. So, if you don't have any money, you have things in your home you can donate. Some clothing, some cleaning supplies, anything. Bottle of water, some food. But I do want to remind everybody of our own Max Maximus, Western North Carolina. He too got flooded and he needs help. The GoFundMe is right here. Right here. So, if we can't help our own, we're not going to help anybody else. But I want to see. Wait 1 second. I wish I could copy and paste that. Let me see. Every time I click, it will be. No, I might be able to do it. DC 53 BD 57. Max Maximus. Not quite sure what this is. I'll read it afterwards, but that's a much longer link. I don't know. I don't even think it'll fit. Let's see. No, it's too long. Oh, no, it did. It went. Okay. So yeah, thank you, Mama Rages, for getting that link. Max, day at a time. It's a day at a time. And for all those denim blue, I do want to hear from you just to make sure that you're okay. And all the others who are hurting, and I wish I was in South Carolina. I'd be up there. But I'm not. And it's very frustrating for me to just be talking and not doing. I don't like it. And it's that's my circumstance. So stay safe. Help those in need. Live honestly, speak honestly. Be trustworthy. Don't scam people. Don't screw people over. Thank you for showing up, and I hope to see you tomorrow night. Ciao, guys.